Well, joining me live now is Laura Blumenfeld, formerly a senior policy advisor on the US State Department's Israeli-Palestinian negotiating team, now at the Johns Hopkins School for Advanced International Studies here in Washington. Welcome to you. Welcome back to you, Laura. Always good to have you with us. So let's just start by touching on that visit then from Prime Minister Netanyahu this coming week. What do you expect from that visit?
Tricky timing, especially if it's on Monday. I mean, Trump will be coming from a weekend where donors are whining and dining him. And then he's going to be with Netanyahu, where it's likely to be just whining. That 70% tariff came as a surprise to Israelis. And Netanyahu has the idea, he's a former finance minister of Israel. He considers himself sophisticated when it comes to financial issues. He's going to try to negotiate that down. I'm not sure what kind of mood Trump is going to be in as markets are crashing, around the world. And Monday is always a tough day for that. They've also got Gaza on the agenda. The news is grim. The hostage talks are deadlocked. We're coming up on the Passover holiday, which is traditionally the kind of let my people go moment for Israelis and Jews around the world. And yet there seems to be no sign of hostage movement. And then finally, there's Iran, where there's tension between Netanyahu and Trump. Trump would like a deal, and Netanyahu wants a death blow at that regime in Iran.
I just want to touch on that issue of tariffs to the tune of some 17%. And in terms of the leverage here potentially, do you think Donald Trump is looking at that in terms of financial leverage or potentially diplomatic foreign policy leverage?
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. What does Israel have to offer in return? The United States is Israel's largest trading partner, so they're heavily dependent on the United States. I see Israel at this point, what role are they serving? They're certainly not like Saudi Arabia, which is, the gold pot at the end of the Middle East rainbow. It's Jeddah, not Jerusalem. On the other hand, Israel is kind of Trump's enforcer right now in the Middle East. And frankly, Saudi Arabia is as well. They're the ones who are actually boots on the ground or bombs away when it comes to taking out Iran and their proxies. So if Netanyahu has any leverage, it's just willing to be the kind of, trigger man for Trump.
And you were saying that you see this as tricky timing. Netanyahu's visit also comes at a time when we've had this new video footage appearing to contradict Israel's account of some medic killings, 15 people in Gaza. They were under the emblem of the Red Crescent. Israel since said that it made a mistake there. Do you think that topic will be broached during talks here in Washington?
Well, it just, Trump is very sensitive to images. So if he's seen that footage, it's hard to watch that and feel anything other than horror. The Israelis' new military chief is saying that we're trying to keep, in his words, operational ambiguity. So they're cutting the Gaza Strip into strips, literally having these kind of stripes across it. In the north, there's the Netzarim corridor. In the south, there's Philadelphia. And now they're introducing a third corridor, cutting that up into sort of grids where they're tightening the noose on Hamas. If that's a problem for Trump, it's going to be a problem for Netanyahu. It's the kind of thing under Biden that would have, created a big stir. But so far, it's, Trump promised all hell if the hostages aren't released. And that's what we're watching, all hell.
Yeah, and where do you think we are in that? Because as you just point out, the IDF, the Israeli government, has said that renewed offensive in the Gaza Strip is with the aim of securing the release of those remaining hostages. Do you think it will have the intended effect?
Well, the risks, and from the hostages themselves, they'll tell you that Hamas is saying they're not going to protect the remaining hostages. The released hostages are just crying out to the world and saying military pressure won't bring the hostages home. It's only through diplomatic negotiations. So, we're going to have to wait and see. I think the Americans are really trying to free Edin Alexander, the one American hostage remaining. And then, of course, there are some American hostage bodies that are still being held by Hamas. That's, the America First approach.
Laura Blumenfeld, who is formerly a senior policy advisor on the US State Department's Israeli-Palestinian negotiating team. Thanks so much for being with us, Laura. Good to see you.
Thank you.